Good morning. This is Coffee and a Weather Map with Jeff, but we're going to do things a little differently. I've decided to try to divide my areas of let's see, what was it? County warning area. Okay, well, so my areas of my forecast areas. Okay, that into South Texas specifically and Lower Michigan, and try to come up with so that people don't have to go hunting around or listening through the entire thing to see just what they need for it. So this is the one for South Texas, obviously, and it starts today, which is the 1st of November, Labor Day, and goes out through the 3rd, which is Wednesday. So let's get into it. Whoops. I have to get used to the controls on this. Surface analysis, we do have over the region, over the whole nation, there's a pretty large area of surface high pressure. Most of it's centered in the Great Lakes, but it's kind of all over the place as far as that's concerned. There are some fronts to note. One is down there in the Gulf that cuts across Florida and gets into roughly Texas. We'll talk about that here just in a second. And then there's another one up in Canada that's currently being kind of prohibited from coming down, but it will eventually move once the surface high starts to move off out of the Great Lakes. And that may have other ramifications for South Texas, which we won't go into today, but it will show up in the forecast on the extended portion in a couple of days. All right, to take a little bit closer look, one of the things that I have noted is I don't always agree with the way that SP or WPC puts these things in here. They've got this front down here, but looking at the winds and all that, you can almost trace back that it goes roughly into here. Now, there isn't much of a thermal gradient here. We're, 80, 70, 80, north of it, but you can see a definite wind shift. So you could call this, I think the other day I called it a trough, which you usually just do it as a dotted line across there. And this is what is the main focus with what's going on as far as the rain is concerned. We'll take a look quickly at all the outlooks for day one. Of note, and this is a little bit harder to do, and maybe I can figure out a better way to do this. I could separate them, but here in South Texas, SPC has got a general outlook as far as thunderstorms are concerned, and WPC has marginal rain outlook across a good portion of it. Looks like the only place it's not including is a good portion of deep South Texas, but that's the main threat, at least going on. If we take a look at a couple of the other places of note, this has a 40% chance right now, and it's this wave here. And when it gets into this region, this is what we're looking at for the possibility of development. We'll see how far that gets over the time here. Also, another thing to just keep an eye on, while this is not expected to affect Texas directly, at least in a tropical storm force fashion, it is possible that it will get caught up in here and it'll dump more moisture up into areas just west of us, so that it will come across later on. And you can see that the forecast itself for South Texas this year is getting kind of wet. Done. Okay. Well, kind of take a look here at the satellite shot. You can see that for the morning over South Texas, I know it's off the one edge, but it's all there. You can see that the moisture is collecting along that front, and we can stop this for a bit. That front runs roughly in right about here, across and then up. And that is where we are taking a look at all the rain that's forming along that front. And then obviously this is the wave that we are concerned about for later on. Okay, so what does that wave do? the tropical wave. We can take a look at this thing in motion, but we'll move on to the next one. Right now, the GFS on its ensemble members all have pretty much the same general idea, which is that it goes this way. I know the red gets a little bit caught into the maze of all the reds and oranges up there. Now, right here is Bermuda, so it's expected to turn north and northeast, east of Bermuda. So that's not a big threat as far as Bermuda is concerned. There are a couple of ensembles that members that try to get it up here, but this front and low pressure system that forms on it here in the coming week, that will have a say in that as well. So I don't think that these are credible ones as far as members that would come through there. There is a more suppressed route, which is expected, which is a possibility, but there's only a few members, and they don't get very far. They don't even get to the Lesser Antilles by the end of the week. So, if anything does form, we'll need to watch it, but it would be almost a 7 to 10 day is out before we see really how it's going. But right now, it doesn't look likely that if it gets developed at all, it would get going. All right, so we'll head on into Tuesday over South Texas. You can see I've been able to zoom in a little bit more on the area. The main feature is that we're just going to have chances for thunderstorms across there. There's no excessive heavy rain. That's most likely going to be out in Arizona and New Mexico, or off to the northeast in Tennessee and Kentucky, and Tennessee, and a little bit of Mississippi and Alabama as well, where there's a slight risk. And then we take a look on Wednesday. Some of the rain is starting to decrease around most of Texas. Looks like there's still a chance for showers and thunderstorms, especially the eastern brush country, the coastal plains along there, Victoria Crossroads, before everything kind of starts to dry out. So looking at the South Texas forecast, we have today temperatures a little cooler than they've been with our the last couple of days. Instead of the hundreds, we're looking at mainly mid to upper 80s there along the coastal bend. We're looking at 90 in the coastal plains and the Victoria Crossroads. Mid 90s as you go out into the brush country, and then you get into the Rio Grande Plains, and then you're just starting to get to 100. For Tuesday, much of the same sort of idea, just because we're expecting the rain. It looks like that Wednesday is going to be the day when it starts to warm back up to with what we would be normally having, which is upper 80s along the coast. I'm going to upper 80s along the coast. We're going to go mid 90s in part of the Victoria Crossroads, as well as mid to upper 90s getting into the coastal plains. The coastal bend is right around 90 degrees. And then as you get out here in the brush country and the Rio Grande Plains, you've got getting close to 100 again. Okay, well, that is all for today. Hopefully you like this new format, and I'll see if I can't get sped up a little bit more. And I think I'm going to do something. Oh, I just realized there's one more graphic here. We were talking about the rain. Today, we have categorical for the 24 hours. Now, these are 24-hour chances of precipitation. So the expectation is that there is a 80 to 90% chance of something happening across almost all of South Texas today, sometime during the day, the next 24 hours. Will it? That remains to be seen. As that front gets kind of falls apart and starts to move out of the region, we see across the northern part of the brush country in the Victoria Crossroads, it's going to be right around 30%. It's more of a 40 to 50% chance across the coastal bend and back into the southern part of the brush country. And then by Wednesday, we're below 10%. So it's not even expectation there'd be anything on Wednesday to go. Okay, now I'll end this and say, have a great day. Hope you like this type of thing. I'll see if I can't get my workflow a little bit faster now that I've got some general graphics drawn up, and have a great day.